The book of Jude reads less like a normal letter and more like an alarm bell. The author begins politely, identifying himself as Jude, servant of Jesus Christ and brother of James, and addressing people who are called, loved by God, and kept safe in Jesus Christ. But almost immediately, the tone changes. He says he wanted to write about the salvation they share, but something forced his hand. Instead, he has to urge them to contend earnestly for the faith that was once for all entrusted to the saints. That phrase matters. The faith here is not simply private belief or personal spirituality. Jude seems to mean a received body of teaching and practice that the community already knows. It has been entrusted to them. It is not theirs to reinvent. The author's main concern is that certain people have entered the community and are reshaping that faith into something else. The opponents are not described as outsiders attacking the group from the outside. They have slipped in unnoticed. That is important. Jude's fear is not persecution from enemies, but corruption from within. These people appear to be present at the community's fellowship meals. They are close enough to influence others. Jude sees them as dangerous precisely because they are insiders. According to the translation, their central offense is that they turn the grace of our God into licentiousness and deny Jesus Christ our only Master and Lord. In plain language, Jude thinks they are using divine grace as permission for shameless behavior. They may be claiming spiritual freedom while rejecting moral restraint. They may also be rejecting the authority of Jesus in practice, even if not necessarily in words. For Jude, behavior and belief are inseparable. If someone claims grace but lives in rebellion, Jude sees that as a denial of the Master. But we should notice something. Jude never lets the opponents speak for themselves. Everything we know about them comes through hostile rhetoric. He calls them ungodly, dreamers, animals, hidden reefs, waterless clouds, dead trees, wild waves, wandering stars. That does not mean his accusations are false, but it does mean the letter is not neutral reporting. It is persuasion. Jude is trying to make his readers feel revulsion toward these people. To do that, he piles up examples of judgment. First, he reminds them that Jesus saved a people out of Egypt, but later destroyed those who did not believe. This is one of the most startling lines in the letter because in this translation, Jesus is placed directly into Israel's Exodus story. Jude is not merely saying that God judged unbelief in the past. He is using Israel's own sacred history to warn a Christian community being rescued once does not make rebellion safe later. Then he mentions angels who abandoned their proper dwelling and are now kept in chains under darkness. This likely reflects the ancient Jewish story of rebellious heavenly beings crossing their appointed boundaries. Then he names Sodom and Gomorrah, not simply as generic symbols of wickedness, but as cities that crossed sexual and created boundaries and became examples of judgment. The pattern is clear. Israel, angels, Sodom, human rebellion, heavenly rebellion, sexual rebellion, communal rebellion. Jude is saying this is not new. The same pattern has happened before, and it always ends in judgment. That helps explain why the letter sounds so extreme. Jude is not making a mild argument. He believes the community is standing in a dangerous repeating pattern. The intruders are not just annoying teachers, they are reenacting the old stories of rebellion. Then comes the strange example of Michael the archangel. Jude says that even Michael, when disputing with the devil about the body of Moses, did not dare to bring a slanderous judgment, but said, "The Lord rebuke you." This story does not appear in the Hebrew Bible. Jude is drawing from a Jewish tradition his audience apparently knew. His point is simple but powerful. Even a high angel would not arrogantly insult a dark spiritual power, but these intruders slander what they do not understand. So Jude's likely intent in the first half of the letter is to expose the opponents as arrogant boundary breakers. They reject authority. They misuse grace. They follow instinct. They speak abusively about spiritual realities beyond their understanding. And Jude wants the community to see them through the lens of Cain, Balaam, Korah, Sodom, rebellious angels, and unbelieving Israel. That is the force of the letter. Jude takes a local church crisis and frames it as part of a cosmic pattern of rebellion and judgment.